Hey there, this is Chris Goff, and in this training video, I'm going to share with you how to market for pre-foreclosure properties. And although this will be a short training video, I want to give you some of my best tips and tricks that will get people to contact you about their property and close your next deal. Now, if this is the first time you're joining me, I'm glad you're here, and I hope I could be a small part in your success as a real estate investor. Now, pre-foreclosure investing is one of the most rewarding businesses to be in because you help out so many people at the same time. Not only are you helping the homeowner, you're helping the contractors, banks, attorneys, the new buyer, and the neighborhood. It's all about helping people, and this is what makes you feel good about what you're doing. Now, in this training video, I won't be covering the actual strategy. So if you want to learn more about this strategy and how it can become a way for you to make money, please visit my pre-foreclosure videos on my YouTube channel and subscribe, because I'm going to keep you up to date on the latest real estate marketing strategies taught in a clear and understandable format so you could go out and help other people and make money in the process. All right, let's talk about how do we market pre-foreclosures. Now, I won't be giving you just a bunch of factual bullet points. I also want to give you real life examples that you can actually use in your business. So here's what we're going to cover in this presentation. Number one, where in the world do we even find these properties? How do we get these pre-foreclosure lists? Number two, offline marketing strategies. Now, I'm not going to cover every single strategy, but I definitely want to give you our top strategies from an offline and online point of view, and then a follow-up system, and not really overcomplicating this follow-up system. I see so many people, they get so into Excel spreadsheets and just trying to track down every little thing that they're doing that they fail to realize that time is the most valuable thing that they have. All right, so how do we find these properties? Let's just get right into it. Well, the very first way you could do this is actually go down to your courthouse where they file all these records and they post them. You can literally see these postings. Now, again, does this take time? Sure. You got to physically get in your car, go down there and actually take pictures, get copies, and find out exactly who's in pre-foreclosure and when's the auction date if they actually have it published. So this is definitely a way that I had to do it back in the day. There just weren't any kind of online resources that you could use to quickly find these. Obviously, most of you already know this, and that's our REIPro software. And this is going to be a great place for you guys to stay in tune with what's coming up from a pre-foreclosure standpoint. You can simply go to our Lead Pro section, click on the pre-foreclosure, select your state, county, city, all that good stuff. Go in there and find your specific area. Now, the one thing that I really want to talk about, and just going to give you a couple of tips here, is the property, from my point of view, has to have at least 20% equity. So one of the filter tools that you can use in REIPro is to actually say how much potential equity. Now, when we put 20% in there, it's going to show all properties that have at least that amount. So we actually have the mortgage amount, we take the current value, and we can kind of see about how much equity is going to be in this property. Now, we won't be able to fine tune this number until we actually talk to the owner of the property and get all the facts from the payoff statements, the back payments, and all of those good things. But from a marketing point of view, I need to start somewhere, and this is where I like to start. The next one is just show future auction dates. Now, in REIPro, we can actually show previous auction dates or properties that don't actually have an auction date, and that's all controlled by the bank and the certain, your specific county. But I really want to target future auction dates. So if I start today and I pull all future auction dates today, I know next week I'm going to do the exact same thing and just see what's new. And if I stay in this, I'm always going to have the latest and greatest information. So future auction dates, you got to start somewhere. Start today and start marketing these properties. And this is where we're going to find them. Okay, so are there other ways of finding them? Sure, but if you have access to the information right in front of you, why in the world would you just do anything different? All right, so one of the things that we talked about is equities. They have to have equity. If the property doesn't have equity, then we have to work a different kind of strategy, maybe more of a short sale strategy. And not that that's a bad thing. It's just, I don't know why it's called short sale, minus the fact that, the bank's willing to accept less than what is owed, because there's nothing short about a short sale. They should call it a long sale, technically, but we have to have equity. Now, do we know what the house needs in repairs? No, we haven't seen the property. Do we know what the payoff statement is? No, we haven't seen the payoff, but I know it has around this amount based on how much they took a mortgage out for, what's today's value, and so forth. And these are the ones that we want to profit from, because this is where the niche business is right here, folks. It's with properties with equity. And although it may be a smaller list of properties in some areas, it's a much more targeted deal that you can actually do. You know, if you were to make 160,000, how many of these would you have to do a year to replace your current income? And that's the beauty of working with pre-foreclosures. It's not just an extremely profitable business, but who in the world helps these people? You think a realtor's going to help this person? No, they're going to say, do a short sale. You think the bank's going to help this person? No, this is where we have to come in and help this person. So if you don't have the technical knowledge about how to do this, that's why I encourage you to go get educated, because it doesn't take a lot of deals to do really well in this business. All right, so let's talk about just a few of the offline marketing strategies that we use, or coaching students use, and our followers use, because there's a million ways to market a business. You know, it's kind of, you can't do everything at once. And it's trying to find a few really key pieces that's working for the majority of people. And that's what we want to focus on. Direct mail marketing is going to be one of your top ways to get people to respond. And I think with direct mail marketing, I think what we have to understand first is we have to be creative. You know, we can't be sending the typical stuff out there. One of the ways that we do this is letters. So letters have been around ever since I started, and this is what I did when I got started, is just send letters because that's all we knew how to do. It's a great way to do it. And it's not that letters are better than anything else. It's just sometimes I like to change it up and do postcards. It hits the person at the mailbox. That's what I love. You know, a letter kind of comes across as another bill or another advertisement. And with a lot of people that pay their bills online today, pretty much every letter that comes into your mailbox is an advertisement, right? So postcards may work better for you. And I think it's something that you just got to try and test out in your marketplace, and maybe even do a combination of these. And the last one that I don't know of hardly anybody that does this except people that follow me are special reports. And I want to talk just a little bit about all three of these from a direct mail point of view. This is by far probably our number one way that we have done pre-foreclosure deals, not just me personally, okay, but students of ours, our REIPro subscribers. We get people that email us all the time about, oh my gosh, this stuff is like a real business. They responded to a postcard. Yeah, it's actually real. We just didn't make this stuff up, right? All right, so let's talk about letters. Generally speaking, I like to do letters when I consider this almost like a low volume. You know, if you only have 10 or 15 to send out, a letter could be a great way to do that, because you can really kind of personalize a letter that way, where postcards might be more of a higher volume. So the first thing I want you to do is personalize them. This isn't the standard typical language that you'd want to use. You really want to personalize like you're actually sitting in their living room and speaking to them. So as you're writing this out, and we have some examples as well, but make it personal as much as possible. This is going to be the connection, because trust is going to be one of the key factors in this business. You have to build that trust. Spell out the consequences. You know, I think a lot of people, the first thing you think of is, wow, you're going to have a foreclosure on your credit report. Your credit's going to be ruined. Yeah, but what are the real life consequences that happen after this? And I'm going to give you some ideas and tips on this here in just a few minutes, because sometimes it's drawing out the conclusion, I think, is really the best way to say it. And when you start doing that for people, they start to really understand how important this is for them to take care of this problem instead of ignoring it and not saying anything. And be unique. When we do letters, be unique. Don't be the typical investor that's going to, mail the same letter out there every single time. Add some touches, and I'm going to give you some really cool, unique tips on how to do this. So here's one of the letters that we do, and one of the cool things that I like to do for our students is actually put what I call a foreclosure clock, and you're more than welcome to take that idea and run with it as well, because it's worked great for us for years. It's a clock tells time. People in pre-foreclosure like to tend to wait to the last minute, just like most people in America, right? We wait to the last minute to actually do something. And this clock really kind of spells out that you're running out of time. And when you get past this certain time, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. It gives the owner a lot more information about creating a sense of urgency to do something. And then, of course, you have to have the language that goes along with that. But one of the cool tips that I want to give you is to add a Post-it note on top of the letter. So put the Post-it note on there, and it's a very simple, call me, here's the number, kind of like a little signature on there. And that really kind of adds that personalization to the letter. So I'm going to put this on the letter, and then I'm going to fold up the letter, and then I'm going to mail this out. So doing this is a really good tip. It's worked well for a lot of our students. And I'll give you one really more valuable tip that not many people think of. And as soon as I tell you, you're going to be like, oh, that's a great idea. It's to actually put it in a USPS priority envelope. Because like I said before, you send a typical letter, most likely it's junk. Unless you really are great at marketing and you've got this powerful envelope that's going to get you to open it and then understand exactly what's in the letter, to send it in a priority envelope, that must be important, right? So you're definitely going to open this one, and it's really going to make you stand out. Now, obviously, if you've got 500 pre-foreclosures, you're probably not doing this. But if you have a certain number of these, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, this is a great way to grab the attention of that owner to say, hey, this is important. Contact me, call me. I've taken the time, I've spent money, extra money to put it in a priority envelope. You just come across a lot different. This is going to be one of my best tips for letters is to use this. All right, so we have postcards. So generally speaking, I say letters, low volume, postcards is more of a higher volume. I want to give you some tips on this. Number one, you need to come across professional. I couldn't tell you all, just think of those cheesy yard signs, where you handwrite, we buy houses, cash in 24 hours. And you got to be thinking, if you're an owner, if you can't afford a sign, how can you afford to buy my house, right? I mean, obviously it works, right, in some areas, but we want to make sure that we come across unique, professional, in a way that isn't that how you want to run a business anyways? I think when you go to these certain seminars and these instructors, it's like it's cheesy, the better. Well, you know what? There is some truth to that. But at the same time, when you're dealing with a $500,000 house that's in pre-foreclosure and $30,000 behind on payments, you're talking about a different clientele of people here. Okay, number one. You can't get away with the cheesiness as much. You have to be professional looking, and that's going to be a huge tip. You can't send these crappy postcards with dot matrix ink on it. You've got to be kidding me that people actually use this. The problem with postcards, you only have so much real estate on the card to get your message across. So it's going to be a lot of bullet points and more of a call to action to get somewhere. And obviously, we want to take them to a website or have your phone number on there. I see some people, they're using their email address, and I don't advise anybody to use their email address. With all the spam laws, the junk mails, you need to when somebody gets this card, they need to either go to your website, fill out a form, or they just need to contact you directly. Right? We want to talk to these people. We want to get a hold of people. We can't be scared and go through this nonchalant way of getting contacted. Look, you're in a business of going out and helping these people because guess what? They have a problem. And you're one of the only few people that's actually going to be able to go out there and help these people get direct contact with them. So use your website and use your phone number. Here's an example, and a lot of you already know this. We already have this in our REIPro system. This is going to be a great professional card for you to use that is probably one of our top cards that we use to actually get deals. I couldn't tell you the countless number of people that are users that have contacted us that said this was the card. So this is definitely going to be one of our favorite cards. The language on the card, the whole, the Jenga blocks here that really kind of grab your attention. You're falling over. So there's a lot of different components to this card, but come across professional. I think that's going to be the big thing. All right, special reports. So what is a special report? Well, kind of look at it as like a 2 or 3 page sales letter. That's basically what it is, right? And this is not necessarily the first way I would approach people, but maybe like a follow-up. So this would be a good piece for a follow-up. Use an example and use numbers in here. So if you live in an area, say in Atlanta, Georgia, the cost of homes here are definitely going to be different than in Los Angeles, California. So we want to use examples and numbers that are relevant to the area that you're in. Okay, and we have a couple of these special reports already available to you in REIPro. Add testimonials if you have any. Now, if you're just getting started, you don't have any, but as you start doing these deals, get testimonials. Social proof is going to be a big piece to this. Add your personal signature. Sounds simple. Don't print it out. A real signature. If it's a different color, great. Then the ink that you print on, that's what your goal is, to really make it personal in a way that you took the time to actually sign it. People get you didn't handwrite the letter. You didn't handwrite the special report. People get that. But to take the time to really show a different ink, if you've got black ink from your printer, use a blue pen as an example. Call to action, go to a website and preferably what we call a landing page or a squeeze page. Here's a special report. You can find this report in the REIPro system called the Owner Finance Report. And what I like to do is add some foreclosure language in here because most pre-foreclosures, you're either going to buy them straight out, or you're going to do a seller finance, or you could wholesale it. So you actually have 3 different ways on how to acquire the property, which is great because if you don't have any money, then wholesaling a pre-foreclosure is going to be ideal. If you do have some money and you want to eventually, take this property over, rehab it, and turn around and sell it, then seller finance is going to be great. If you can get it cheap enough, and maybe they owe, not much on it, well, there's a ton of equity, maybe you could just go to the bank, get the money to cash them out. Either way, the great news is you have 3 different ways to acquire the property. Owner finance is probably going to be, I would say, on the higher percentage strategy that you would use to acquire these properties. And that's why we use a lot of owner finance or seller finance language in here. All right, let's talk about other offline marketing strategies. Could you call the owner? Sure, you could go into REIPro, pull up their cell phone number, and give them a call. It works for some people it doesn't. You just got to put yourself in their shoes for a second. Number one, they're screening their calls, right? It may be difficult. Obviously, you got to leave a voicemail. But is that too forward for some people? Yeah, it could be. And that's something you got to think about. Is it something you try? Are people going to be in denial? Are they going to tell you, no, I'm not in foreclosure. That's all taken care of. Well, that's not what the county says. Now you're starting an argument with them. Is that a win-win? No, that's never going to be a win either. So again, you could do this. Works for some people, but not others. I think the direct mail approach is kind of a little less intense. And when they take action, it's like, hey, they're interested in at least hearing what you have to offer. Do a free recording. This is a simple way. A lot of people get an 800 number and they record a message and then they market that message. Hey, call my 1-800 number to, learn about how to avoid foreclosure. It's a free recording. Word of mouth is going to be a big one. And this is about you talking about what you do to everybody you know. I don't care if it's the waitress at the restaurant. Leave your business card, right? Leave it with the tip. Things that you got to be creative, right? You got to get the word out there. Don't be scared about what you do. At the end of the day, you're helping people. It's not a typical, hey, I'm going to go in, make, 50 cents on the dollar offer on your property. I'm going to duck because you're going to shoot me type of thing. It is a different business that you're working in. And that's the great thing. And generally, you're going to be working with nicer properties. So it's a different kind of marketplace that you're going to be in. So talk about it. Talk about it to everybody. Of course, flyers on community boards. Just a general flyer out there is going to help build awareness. Radio ads, if you're more of that, active investor where, hey, you've already kind of, made a lot of money in real estate and you've got a full-time business going out there, start doing some radio ads. Who actually does radio ads on this stuff? And that's what you have to do. You got to be different. We used to have billboards on this stuff. So be creative, be different. Obviously, there's other offline marketing strategies that you could use, but I think the key is start getting in a routine on a few. I'm just basically teaching you some of the ones that are most common to us, the ones we see a lot of students getting deals, and is the number one reason why we get a lot of deals. So it definitely works for us, and I know if we share some of this, it's going to help you as well. All right, so let's kind of switch gears here, go to the online marketing strategies. Number one is Facebook. So everybody's on Facebook. Facebook this, Facebook that, run an ad, this, that. You see 10,000 ads on Facebook, but it works. So that's just one of those things. You got to keep testing your ads, your language, and all that. And I'm actually going to show you an example of that here in just a second. But Facebook online. Now, again, there's going to be a lot of other online marketing strategies that I'm not going to bring up because these are going to be the ones that we use probably 90% of the time. Google AdWords. Right? So pay-per-click, when you go and search for something on Google, hey, you have an ad sitting up at the number 1, number 2, number 3 spot. This is going to be another way. So people that are in trouble, usually the first thing they do is they go Google how to get out of this trouble. And that's where we want your ad to show up. Now, if you don't know how to do these types of advertising techniques, you need to learn. I'm not going to tell you it's just easy, you just go figure it out. No, you can figure it out and you can learn it. You don't have to be an expert at it. Obviously, if you're busy, you can hire people that can do this, but you definitely need to get out there, get exposed to from that online point of view because that's where everybody is today. YouTube, huge. People are just pounding YouTube right now. When you go Google something like, how do you change a tire? You probably don't read about it, or at least most people don't read about it. You want to see somebody actually do it. And that's where YouTube's going to be a great place for you to advertise. About 85% of our business comes from YouTube. Okay, so it's talking about what you do. Hey, my name is Chris, and I work for 360 Real Estate Solutions. We've been in the foreclosure business. We help homeowners avoid the struggle, credit embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually going to give you a formula. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a formula in just a minute on how to do the video. So you're definitely going to want to pay attention to that. All right, so we have all this advertising, but where are people going? We talk about calling you, and then we talk about your website. Well, there's a couple of different types of websites. So first of all, you have what's called a branding site, and this is kind of everything that you do. Hey, I work with buyers, I work with investors, I have properties for sale, I work with this situation, that situation. So it's very general, right? But you have to have it. So because it tells everybody everything that you do. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of stuff like sell now. You have situations, you have rent to own, you have properties, investors, questions, testimonies. So you have a lot of pages for people to maneuver through your site, learn a little bit more about you, and understand, are these people that I want to do business with? Whereas a landing page or a squeeze page is very specific to one thing. In this particular example, so free training video, how to avoid foreclosure and save your credit. So again, I like videos. Again, it could be a free guide. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be a special report, but I like videos where I could get on camera and I could talk about how to avoid this. It could be short, sweet, to the point. We don't talk about anything else. There's no buttons that they can go to other pages on or about us. It's a simple fill out this form. Give me your name, give me your email. You can even add their phone number to it and get the report, and then you follow up with these people. You can use simple autoresponders, companies such as, email marketing companies such as like MailChimp, Aweber, Constant Contact, connect that to your landing page so you can send these autoresponders, and then of course following up with these people. So this is just a general screenshot. There is some language below this, but of course it wouldn't fit on the screen. Here's the point. It's very specific to what we're talking about. So if I run an ad on Facebook or Google Ads, look, it's talking about foreclosures. It's pre-foreclosures, how to avoid it. They should be taken to a page that's all you talk about. Otherwise, you're going to, there's a chance of them going to the About Us page and then forget about why they got there in the first place. So that's why we would prefer having a landing page for something as specific as pre-foreclosures. All right, so Facebook marketing, offer something for free, right? So you got to exchange information. That's the best thing. Hey, I'll give you this if you give me your information, because we need to reach out to them. Landing page, again, we just talked about specific language, only talking about pre-foreclosures, benefits, solutions, the pains, right? We forget about the pains of the consequences of what people are going to go through. But you can't make it look like a housing opportunity, like you have a property for sale. Okay, it's the one thing Facebook's not going to allow you to do. Now, are there local Facebook groups in your community that are real estate? Yes. And you can post on those for free. You got to find those local Facebook groups and you'll be able to do those things. You could promote a property, you could promote your service. But from a paid Facebook sponsored ad, it's a little bit different. Let me show you what one looks like. I think that's the most important thing is people tell you what to do, but they don't ever really show you anything. Okay, what does it really look like, right? Now, again, you could change this up. You could change the pictures, but this is just one ad that I want to show you here. So right here at the very top, so this is an enticing offer is what we call it. So download my free book where I share with you the 3 things you must do to avoid foreclosure and get back on your feet. This free book will teach you that what the banks don't want you to know, limited time offer. So, that second sentence is kind of the cheese piece, but I'll keep talking about free. Limited time offer. What does that mean? Here's the fact. We can't wait for that homeowner to get to the auction date. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. So we need to create some sense of urgency to the owner to hurry up and contact us. Now we have a simple picture to grab attention. Of course, you get people that are frustrated. You could use, other pictures here. We choose to use this one. And then, of course, the call to action. And I think the important part is repeat the free offer, right? So download free book before it's too late. That's going to be the key. So when you start running these, you need to get that message over. So the one thing you remember is free, right? Free is one of those most powerful marketing words you could ever use on the planet. So here's a great example that you guys can use. So, obviously you're going to hit pause here and you're going to start copying the content. I get it, but it's going to help you in Facebook marketing. Let's talk about Google AdWords now for a second. Again, free offer, landing page. This is going to be, keep in mind, everything's going to go back to a page. Short and to the point, right? So Google AdWords, you're going to have a lot less content to work with when you run these ads. So here's an actual example. So free guide to avoid foreclosure, simple 3-step process. This is what you're going to see when you Google stuff, and it's going to be at the top of your page. That's where you want. Now, again, you're going to target specific areas wherever you're working. Age groups, is a big thing. We're not really marketing people, especially from a Facebook where they're 18 years old. Not many 18 years old kids actually own a property that's in pre-foreclosure. So again, going back and filtering this down to try to show this to the people that really matter. Now, keep in mind, they're only going to be, with Google AdWords, more on keywords. So keep in mind that your keywords are going to be very important with Google on this. So there's an example that you could use. Now, YouTube, no more than 3-minute videos. Okay, that's really the key, because shorter the better, actually. But no more than 3 minutes. I want you to stay specific on what you're offering. I see so many people, they do a video and they get so far off topic that they're not even talking about what they're offering anymore. It's like that leads you into something else. Script it out. Write it out in a Word document. Be sure you know what you're talking about and keep it to the point. Follow the formula that I'm getting ready to give you. Okay, and not many people are going to teach you this part of it. All right, so the very first thing when we create a video for this stuff is, and it sounds simple here, who you are. It sounds simple. It's almost like an introduction. And I'm going to give you an example for each one of these, okay? So the example here is, hi, I'm Chris Goff, and I'm with 360 Real Estate Solutions. So it kind of starts off very, very simple. And the very next thing is you have to, what you do. So what do you do? Ask yourself that. So let me give you an example. I've been helping homeowners avoid foreclosure and save their credit for almost 20 years. So let me put those two sentences together. I want you to start to see how this video is going to lay out. Hi, I'm Chris Goff, and I'm with 360 Real Estate Solutions. I've been helping homeowners avoid foreclosure and save their credit for almost 20 years. Okay, it's really short, doesn't take much time. The very next thing you need to do is identify the problem. Okay, so the example I'm going to give you, many people face pre-foreclosure every day, lose their home, stack up more debt, and ruin their credit for years. This is, however, avoidable in most cases. It's knowing what to do, and that's why we're here. Let me put these three pieces together. Hi, I'm Chris Goff, and I'm with 360 Real Estate Solutions. I've been helping homeowners avoid foreclosure and save their credit for almost 20 years. Now, many people face pre-foreclosure every day. They lose their home, stack up more debt, and ruin their credit for years. This is, however, avoidable in most cases. It's knowing what to do, and that's why I'm here. So you can see how it starts to tie together. Now, you may have to, hit record 3 or 4 times to do this and make sure that it comes out good. Next, here's the key. Agitate the problem. Okay, so we told you already that many people face pre-foreclosure, they lose their homes, they stack up more debt, and they ruin their credit. And this is where I would almost say one of the most important parts of the formula is to agitate the problem. Now, this part will probably be the longest part of your video, so let me give you an example. Going through foreclosure may have more consequences than you think. There are many cases where you may not even pass a rental application with a foreclosure on your report. Landlords have become smarter to know that if you aren't paying your own mortgage, why would you pay them? And once your property goes through auction, the bank will remove you and all of your things out of the house legally, leaving you no place to go. So what I'm doing is agitating this particular problem. Next, provide the solution. Here's where you come in to rescue them. So here's your example. We have been able to help homeowners save their credit, the embarrassment, and put this problem behind you so you can move on with your life. More or less, hitting a reset switch. So it's a simple solution. Now, we're not getting specific on this. It's just a general solution. And the very last thing that you need to do in a video is the call to action. So here's your example. Now, download my free guide, the 3 things you must do to avoid foreclosure. Act now because time is not on your side. Now we have this video. I'm going to put it all together so you can kind of understand exactly how would this sound in a video. So here we go. Hi, I'm Chris Goff, and I'm with 360 Real Estate Solutions. I've been helping homeowners avoid foreclosure and save their credit for almost 20 years. Many people face pre-foreclosures every day, lose their home, stack up more debt, and ruin their credit for years. This is, however, avoidable in most cases. It's knowing what to do, and that's why we're here. Going through foreclosure may have more consequences than you think. There are many cases where you may not even pass a rental application with a foreclosure on your report. Landlords have become smarter to know if you aren't paying your own mortgage, why would you pay them? And once your property goes through auction, the bank will remove you and all of your things out of the house legally, leaving you no place to go. We have been able to help homeowners save their credit, the embarrassment, and put this problem behind you so you can move on with your life. More or less, hitting the reset switch. Now download my free guide, The 3 Things You Must Do to Avoid Foreclosure. Act now because time is not on your side. So that's what it would kind of sound like. Again, you gotta play the part. You gotta be energetic. You gotta have all those key pieces when you do a video. Now, you could do, most of the smartphones are gonna take great video content. The key with video today is not necessarily the quality, because almost every device out there takes good quality. It's the audio. You gotta have great audio. Okay, so there's a couple of tips for YouTube. And then follow-up systems. I want to keep this. It's really about timing. If I know that, this property is going to auction in 3 weeks and I market them today, well, I only have a couple more weeks. So I need to market them in another week. I may even market them in 3 more days. So you got to really kind of schedule out your timing. I would say timing is going to be the biggest thing, because once the property goes to auction, you can't help them. Change up your marketing. Don't send the same thing each time. So maybe you send, a postcard or a letter the first time, and maybe the second time you send the special report. Maybe the third time you send either the letter or the postcard back again. It's having the same branding, but a different message and a different look. Administration. This is what I don't want you to occupy your time with so much. This is where I see a lot of people. It's almost like I want to be in real estate, but I kind of don't want to talk to anybody. I'll just dig in and do all the administrative stuff. Look, you're not going to help anybody with that mindset. Keep the administration stuff simple. As you build your business, yes, you'll have to get more involved or have somebody else do it. But in the beginning, don't do that.